I want to do I am an innovator. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I have a billion ideas run through my head. A billion. I want to do and accomplish a lot of things in my life, and they're starting to come to me in great ease. I also have seen visions of my dreams, showing me what to do and the success that I'm going to achieve. And although there are some things in my current time-space reality coming to me, I am wondering if I'm allowed, or if I need to focus on a certain thing or desire until it appears in my current time-space reality, or can I simply focus upon many things and desires at the same time? Now, with all of that said, there is one strong goal in which if achieved, I would relieve me of all my financial burdens so that I could concentrate on my main objective, which is right now I'm currently involved in, and it's a very expensive project. Although, even though I saw the price tag, as soon as I found out what it was, I immediately just said, I'm going. I don't care what it costs me, I'm going. Now, I'm getting stronger and less wobbly every day, but when it comes to work and my family and the atmosphere that I'm surrounded by, it's beyond out of my control, meaning everyone around me is bombarding me with their compliments and misery. My mother, I ask her, this is what happening, and that's happening, and I'm like, Mom, you need to I got a small book for you to read. Here, I'll bring it to you. Oh, I can't
Wrap
read.
it up because their heads are about to explode.
What do I do about the I guess my last and only question, you heard everything, so the wobbling, how can I control the wobbling at work with so much negativity around me?
Now you know what we mean by you can't get there from here. In other words, the assessment of where you are hinders you getting to where you want to be. What you are witnessing here is an example of, and you are going to enjoy this unfolding. We're just going to walk through it steadily until you feel some clarity, and it will be of benefit to everyone else. But what this conversation demonstrates above all other things is the learned effort factor that humans employ. It's the knowing what you want and making an action plan about how to get there rather than allowing the universe to yield it to you. The conversation is an example of, and it's all right because everyone offers these examples through their experience, is an example of really not trusting it to come, but needing to define how it comes. In the simplest way that we can say it, it's trying too hard. But when you're fostered in a world where action is rewarded and trying is rewarded, it seems like that's the way to get to everything, is just by trying. And it's not an easy thing to hear someone like us say that effort is not your friend when you have lived in a world where effort is the thing that has been the most rewarded by others who are offering effort. There is actually a human state of being, and this is a bold statement that we're going to give you, but we really want to sort of shake you up just a little bit by saying that there are a lot of people that really believe that unless someone is displaying some form of discomfort or sacrifice, then whatever it is that they are offering is not as valuable. In other words, things shouldn't come easy, things should come hard. There is no gain unless there is pain. I don't want to be lazy, I want to apply myself. That kind of thing. And what we want you to understand is that once you start, when you receive what feels to you like an inspiration. That's a manifestation that is coming to the vibration that you have going. But when you jump into action before the alignment is in place, then you contradict your own vibration. And the contradiction of your own vibration is what causes the wobble. Now, we want to talk about the wobble just a little bit, because this is the meat of deliberate creation. This conversation that we're about to have will explain to you, no matter who you are or what it is you're looking for or what you want or where you are in relationship to whatever you want, this conversation is going to explain to you how everything works the way that it does. And it's going to be easy for you to understand because it falls in the logic of the physics of the world that you already understand. The subject of momentum and the subject of wobble, so to speak. So think about momentum. Think about it in any way you want to. Maybe it's, let's talk about an airplane that is moving at a fairly high speed down a runway. And it's got a lot of momentum going. But let's say that one of the wheels is really out of alignment and it's really wobbling. So this airplane is not going straight down the runway. It's sort of doing all kinds of things. And because of the wobble, it can't get up. It can't accomplish the speed that it needs in order to take off. That's an example of a wobble interfering. Now, some would say, well, if we can just apply more speed than like stronger desire, then we can overcome any wobble by enough desire or enough speed. But it turns out that just doesn't work out that way, that when you apply more speed to a wobble, it doesn't go the way that you want it to. So in the context of law of attraction and all of the things that you've been learning from us, we want to talk about momentum, but we want to also but in order to really understand momentum, what true momentum is, you have to understand that it is the absence of resistance, which means it's the absence of the wobble. So now let's demonstrate a wobble. So I want a successful campaign for my business, whatever it is. I want it, but in order to accomplish it, I need this. Well, you've just introduced a wobble to the equation. And this is the thing that almost nobody understands, that is the thing that we most want you to hear. You could say, I want it, without introducing into it the not yet ready way of going about it that you're introducing to it, and there would be no wobble, and the momentum would increase, and that plane eventually would take off. So what the wobble factor is sloppy thinking. The wobble factor is, you demonstrated it here a bit with the notes. In other words, you'd even carefully written them out. But you talked about what you want, and you talk about what you don't want. You got into some pretty dramatic things about the different people that you're talking to. There was wobble all over the place in that you were reading. And you could focus upon that business plan. You could focus upon something you want for 100 years, and the things that you want aren't going to come into place in the way you want them to, because you are introducing wobble every step of the way. And that's what we mean by trying too hard. So in order for that airplane to get up to speed, in order to take off in the way that it really wants to, there are some things that are in place first. In other words, they make sure that the runway for the most part is reasonable, and they make sure that the wheels for the most part are reasonable. In other words, you do the best that you can do to stabilize yourself before you apply the speed. And that maybe is the best way that we can describe to you what was going on here, is that you're applying the speed before you're really stable. And so
so you're saying that with my energy, I'm trying to go too fast with my energy, so I need to slow down and then just allow things to come to me, just allow things to just all do whatever they need to do so they can fall into place.
We are saying that, but we want to say it in a way that you can really hear it, because we're not saying that you're going too fast with your energy. We're saying you're going in two different directions with your energy. You're talking about what you want, and you're talking about what you don't want, and that's what introduces the wobble. And then when you apply more focus to a wobble, then the wobble just gets greater and greater. And the more the wobble happens, then the more you feel like you need to apply more effort. And then the more effort that you apply, the more the wobble happens. Until you are reaching for advantages, you reach for advantages that you can't get, because you're not in alignment with the advantages that you're reaching for. You see what we're getting? Mm-hmm. And so we like saying you can't get there from here. We never mean that, because there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have, and everything that you want will eventually come to you. But we appreciate so much this conversation, because you demonstrate what a lot of people are individually doing. You're just trying too hard, and you are applying the action orientation that you've picked up along your physical trail to this law of attraction conversation, and you are putting the same resistance into this law of attraction conversation that the action part of your world has been showing. Action doesn't yield you very much. Action, you can measure yourself as a mass consciousness, people to people to people to people, and behavior to behavior. You can measure yourself with credentials and assets. You can measure yourself in a comparative way, and you do, but you don't get very far past mediocrity in that mentality, in that action-oriented mentality. In order to rise far above, in order to stand out in a very big way, you have to utilize the laws of the universe to your advantage, which means you have to recognize when you're wobbling, and you have to stop it in the early stages so that you don't apply more thought, which causes more momentum to a unstable situation. Much of your world is doing just that. It's what's been going on in the Middle East for as long as any of you can remember. It's the reason that you find yourself in yet another war and another war and another war is because it is vibrationally wrong-headed. It's because it's out of whack with who you really are. You cannot get there from there. You cannot get to where you want to be by pushing against what you don't want. In other words, you get to where you want to be by focusing upon what you do want. So you've got to clarify or purify your attention earlier. Well, almost the minute you jump into a conversation that has this much momentum, you just keep perpetuating both sides of it, and so you perpetuate the wobble. You've got to start in a pure new place. Are you getting what we're talking about?
No, absolutely. I just have one more.